to the Jersey Lore Podcast. How are you feeling today, my co-host, on the day of our Season 2 premiere?
You can't see it, but I'm fist pumping right now.
You're beating the beat up.
I'm beating the beat up. I also, because Trans Day of Visibility was recently, I feel like it wasn't mentioned in the last season, but since the show has begun, I have come out as trans. So perceive me as you will. I feel like it hasn't been that long since our first season ended. But that's for the best, because we have a lot of content to go over.
I don't have a joke for that, but I love and support you as a trans man.
Thank you.
Before we jump into the episode, and there's actually a surprising amount to talk about with this episode, which I wasn't expecting. Yeah. How do you feel about Season 2 in general?
It's okay. They definitely fixate on a certain issue that happens early on in the season, and then it's just not resolved well, and I don't know.
It's definitely repetitive.
The storytelling is not very. There was not a lot of foresight put into this arc that they wrote into this show.
Yeah. I think if I was gonna rank the seasons, it would probably be 4, 3, 1, 2, 5, and then 6. So it's 4 out of total, which is not great, but there is some funny stuff in the series this season. There's some funny quotes from Polly. I have the quotes.
Oh yeah, I think I have the same quotes.
You can't creep in this weather. Girls don't come out in this weather.
In this weather. Tan. Creep.
And those are the building blocks of a Guido.
Yeah, it's just, I love how he implies that girls specifically do not go outside in the weather.
Yeah.
It's a gendered thing.
Yeah.
That if you are a girl, you just hibernate.
Yeah,
and don't
exactly.
Leave the house.
Then we are introduced to Snooki. Snooki has it's kind of interesting seeing how Snooki's looks have evolved, because in the first season she's definitely seeing the second season when she has money and fame. Now you understand what she was trying to achieve in season 1, albeit unsuccessfully, because in season 1 she's really dark, the hair's all in her face, the eye makeup is really smudgy because she's 21, she's broke. But then in this season, the tan is I mean, it's dark, obviously, but, it looks a little more respectable. Her makeup's really nice. You can see, Snooki's visions of Guidette-hood, come true in this episode.
Everyone really does kind of level up.
Yeah. Well, Vinny doesn't fully, level up until, season 4. I think season 4 is peak Vinny.
Anyway.
We also have Snooki's discussion of Obama's tan tax. How do you feel about that?
She said it. Do you remember the full context of what she thought Obama's reasoning was?
Okay. I'm just looking up to see if this was true. He actually repealed it in 2015.
After all the negative press that Snooki was
I wonder if Obama, saw Jersey Shore, and, as we discussed in the finale of last season, 2008 was in a recession, so he's probably thinking, oh, what's, something that I can tax that's gonna generate a lot of revenue but isn't an essential service. Sasha and Malia had it on. That's what his daughter's name. Sasha Malia, yeah.
I really hope they were not watching it back then, because I don't think either of them were even teenagers at that point.
Okay, well, anyway, maybe Michelle was watching it.
Michelle.
Well, Michelle probably GTLs. Isn't Michelle Obama,
her
jacked?
Arms are very, very jacked.
Anyway, he's
they're
like,
more toned. Her arms they're toned. They're not jacked. It's tasteful.
I'm jacked.
Yeah.
Anyway, so, he walked in, and she's like, Barack, like, look at all these Guidos. And he's like, Michelle?
Stop.
What does GTL stand for? And she's like, Barack, like, I don't know why she sounds like a Disney princess.
I don't know either.
Barack. She's like, Barack, I'm having my broccoli and Brussels sprouts and I'm watching Jersey Shore. He's watching Snooki and he's watching them getting GTLs and he's thinking, I think I should tax tanning to generate revenue for the federal government as we are in the 2008 recession. So, yeah, I think that's what happened.
Uh-huh.
Anyway.
What do we think about introducing the new Sammy single?
I know, it feels like this, like, Shakespearean, like, dramatic irony of, like, because isn't that the big thing with Romeo and Juliet? Like, in the beginning, they're like, oh, these guys are gonna die, and then the rest of that's kind of what it feels like watching this, because, like, Ron and Sam are like, we're the single version of us. Like, we're...
You do you.
You do you. We also have the quote from Pauly D referring to Mike. We could be brothers No, it's... No. Sorry. It's Mike referring to Pauly D. We could be brothers from another mother, possibly. I don't think that's something you need to get, like, confirmed, Mike.
No.
I don't think that was in contention.
Oh, also, Vinny talking about, he's like, I want to get with some, like, pretty girls this season. He says, my uncles want me to bang everything. Like, I didn't know that was the thing you talk about with your uncles.
Uncle Nino, well, isn't Uncle Nino, like, an infamous sleazeball?
This is true.
Wait, I think this season is the introduction of Uncle Nino. I don't know if Uncle Nino was in the last season.
I don't think he was.
Oh, wow. So we get Uncle Nino this season.
Uncle
That's fun.
Nino.
Yeah, but I love how
tiny...
tiny...
I don't know, everyone keeps talking about, like, taking over Miami. As if, like, if you come in and party it up the best at all the clubs, you are given the keys to the city. Yeah. You become the mayor of Miami if you get drunk enough in all the clubs. And if you fist bump hard enough.
I mean, it is Florida.
They make you a politician.
Do you see who's coming out of Florida, though?
This is true.
Yeah, it kind of reminded me of, like, when I was in, like, my junior year of high school and people were, like, making their college decisions, or actually maybe senior year, and, like, girls would, like, post photos of them and their friends, like when their friend decided on a college, and they'd be like, watch out, like, University of Wisconsin, you're not ready for Rebecca. and then it's just like, she's just like a bio major. That's what it kind of reminds of. They're like, we're gonna okay, so then also this whole episode, the whole gimmick of the first 10 minutes of this episode about how it's a road trip just kind of shows me that MTV was too cheap to shell out airline tickets.
Yeah, it was not the cast's idea to do that.
No, it was not. But I think that, like, goes to show, like, how Jersey Shore is, like, entirely reliant on, like, the cast. Do you know what I mean? Because it's, like, even like, completely, like, with nothing to do, just them in the car or them, like, bopping around the South is, like, still entertaining. Like, MTV struck a gold mine with this casting. Because it's, like, probably a relatively cheap show to produce, especially because they weren't paying them great. And then they're just like, oh, these people will be funny anywhere. So, like, let's just put them anywhere and they'll be funny. You know what I remembered? It's Good Friday.
Yeah.
I was, like, talking to Mom, yesterday, and I was like, I said like Jesus, like I took the Lord's name in vain, and she went, "It's Good Thursday."
Good Thursday? What?
First of all Thursdays are good. I like a Thursday, I do.
Yeah, I appreciate it.
Yeah, so anyway, so then you've got Snooki and JWoww in the South.
Yep.
How do you feel?
I really appreciated her rhinestoned hat, the cowboy hat. I would really like something like that for my own wardrobe. I don't know, just like she was totally in her element, just like eating those fried pickles.
Yeah.
Like,
I know it's kind of funny unintentionally because it's like the whole point and aesthetic of Jersey Shore is that it's like trashy, right?
yeah.
And like that's fine, like it's camp or whatever, right? I don't know.
It's camp.
It's camp. Okay. So, but then you have this Southern guy come up and trying to hit on them, and he's like weird and awkward. Like I won't deny that. But then Snooki and JWoww are acting like so much better than him because he's Southern and they're from Jersey, and it's like you're famous for being on the trashy show. Like you're not that much better than him. I mean, to be fair,
but you don't get it. He didn't fist.
he
pump.
did not fist pump. I think my least favorite moment, just of anything, is when he said, "Ah ha ha. What's in it for me if I do fist pump?"
Yeah.
I think the worst sentence that can come out of a man's mouth is, "What do I get if I do that?"
Yeah.
Did I tell you the story of no, I think I have told you the story, and that's okay. So, as you know, I am on the apps looking for my juice
Guido
head gorilla Guido. And I matched with this guy, and he had in his bio that he like worked in a restaurant that I liked, and I think I started the conversation like, "Oh, I like this restaurant, da da da," and I was trying to be funny, and I was like, "Oh, do I like I was like, do I get a discount, like haha, cause like we're whatever," and he was like, "Ah haha, like what do I get, like if I get a discount?" And I was like, "Pardon?" I was like, "I don't know, like whatever." And he's like, "I will give you 20% off if you like, whatever." And I was like,
Ew,
first of all, yeah, I unmatched him.
20% off?
Yeah, that's what I was saying. I'm like, it should be free, first of all.
Oh my
Also,
God. The
no.
audacity.
Yeah, so I'm not
When this podcast takes off, people are just going to be giving us free stuff.
I'm not going to tip
No
the next time I
strings
go to that
attached.
restaurant.
Oh, please, never tip again.
I have the note, Angelina has luggage.
I had that note too. She had these like designer bags.
She's trying to make
She was really trying to make a 180, and she's like, like everyone deserves a second chance and blah blah blah. And like I didn't do anything to anyone. Like.
Yeah, no. So Angelina comes into this season really weird. So the implication is that she hooked up with both Mike and Pauly at a certain point in time, and then they invited her back, but I'm kind of inclined to believe that yes, they did hook up, but it was the network that invited her back because they wanted drama in the house.
Yeah.
Because there's like that whole thing of like, oh, Mike invited her, but he doesn't really want her to come. Then it's like, well, why did he invite her then?
But I don't know, there is a part of me that thinks that Mike would just invite someone to start drama. Because
That's a very
he is
Mike
a known
move.
Instigator.
Yeah, it's kind of interesting. It's kind of a smart move on his part if it's intentional, because Mike like comes off pretty okay in this episode because he's not the one doing dumb shit. It's Angelina doing dumb shit and starting shit.
Yeah, did Mike even do anything?
This episode he was like completely, I mean, he was funny. He was like goofy
he
Mike.
flew under the radar.
Which is like weird
Kinda
considering
genius.
it's Mike.
Yeah.
I also have the note, Miami house is ugly. The Jersey house is like really well decorated. I mean, it's like camp decorated, but like, you know, they got the Scarface poster, like they got it rocking. But it was like weird, like it looks like a hostel almost. Like the back room that like Jenny and Snooki sleep in, it's like not decorated at all, and it's like almost like looks like a children's bedroom.
Yeah.
Which I find kind of strange, again, proving the point that I think MTV was producing this show purely like the lowest possible budget they could.
We find out that it's like a single story, like ranch style house where like the entire family had just been murdered.
Yeah.
So the house was really cheap.
Yeah, and then I just want to talk about Angie, because that's kind of the major drama of this episode, is Angelina coming back. And even though I don't like Angelina, because she's Angelina, I kind of want to be like respect for her for coming back. Because like, obviously, she doesn't come back like, you know, she comes back because the studio offered her money. Like, that's pretty clear. Yeah. But even so, like, I will be friends with people for, like, 7 years, and they will, like, not reply to me for 5 minutes, and I'll be like, oh my god, they hate me. So, like, kind of, like, respect to Angelina for signing up to live with, like, 7 people that she knows don't like her.
Yeah.
But her, like, strategy with it is kind of weird, because she, like, refuses to apologize to anyone, and then instead chooses to, like, be flirtatious with Mike and Polly as her main strategy, and I don't understand why she thought that was gonna work. Do you have any thoughts on, like, how, like, I don't know, how would you approach that situation?
I mean, me personally, if I knew that a bunch of people hated me, I definitely would not go back unless they were offering me, like, a lot.
How much? Like, 10K? I think they were getting 10K per episode.
That's not bad.
I could be wrong on that, but I believe.
That's not bad. But, yeah, if I was that person, I would definitely start off by apologizing to everyone. I already apologized to everyone anyway.
Yeah.
I just, like...
Because my understanding, so Sammy, Snooki, and Jenny don't like her because she was, like, talking behind their back. That's why. It
seems like they kind of run in the same social circles in between seasons, where, like, they all kind of go out to the same places and socialize with the same people.
Yeah.
So I think they caught wind of, like, between seasons.
Because they didn't make that, like, 100% clear.
Yeah.
Yeah, because Angelina believes that they're mad at her for leaving. Like, when they're in the car, and she's like, oh, you're talking about a man, and so why don't you understand that I'd leave because of my man? And everyone's like, what? That's not why we're mad at you. Do you remember that? It was really stupid.
I could not even follow what was happening in that car.
Yeah, so it's just like, I don't know, Angelina, and I don't like particularly, I'm not super fond of this term, but like Angelina seems like such a pick-me girl.
Oh, yeah.
Because she tries to be like, oh, I'm one of the boys, but also we can make out, and it's like,
yeah,
so
for sure, yeah.
Transparent and gross. And like, I don't really like the term pick-me girl, because it's like, clearly if someone has that attitude towards themselves and their own gender, they have like some issues, and like that's not their fault, you know what I mean? And it's usually girls who are like in middle school and high school. If you're in older than that, then like, yeah, that's embarrassing. But like, I've really only interacted with people like that, like in middle school and high school. I also wanted to shout out to Sam for coming back on the show.
Yeah.
'Cause like, and they're really vague about why her and Ron broke up as well. Ron just says, oh, it didn't work out. And I'm like, okay. But then they get to the club and they're like immediately mad at each other and he's immediately cussing at her. And I'm like, well, clearly it's deeper than, oh, it didn't work out. Like,
yeah.
Considering.
But I could see, I don't know, because the whole thing with them is any tiny thing that happens could blow up into an enormous fight.
Yeah.
So they could have just had like a crazy large fight because of like I don't know. They didn't split a pizza the right way, you know?
Okay, how do you split a pizza the wrong way?
I don't know, like Ronnie ate too many slices of pizza and Sam was still hungry.
Well, he's got a carbo load, Jude. God.
Ronnie should not be carbo loading if he's trying to be a juice head gorilla Guido.
Don't you carbo load to gain muscle mass?
No.
I'm thinking of something else. Anyway.
You carbo load before you're gonna do a lot of cardio.
Okay, anyway.
But cardio isn't necessarily for muscle
Well, he's
mass.
got to do cardio to run around and punch people on the boardwalk.
To go donkey run.
To go donkey run. No, you've got to. No,
road
you've definitely got to carbo load at least a week before you go full donkey mode. I also, I'm sorry that I have to come for my king like this, but I physically was repulsed when Vinny said, "Daddy's home." He was like,
what about
"No, Daddy is not home. Daddy is 22." Okay.
Oh man.
Just like 5 minutes ago, he was like, the way he was like sitting like at that table surrounded by all his uncles, like it was his freaking bar mitzvah. Like that's what it looked like to me. Wrong culture, but I don't know what else to call it. Quinceañera. What's a coming of age thing? A bris?
Oh my god.
Also, I want to talk about the cognitive dissonance between how Sammy talks about Ron versus, like, Ron.
Yeah.
Because it's like, she always talks about him, and she's like, I'm still in... Ugh, let me get into my statement. She's like, I'm still in love with him. Like, I think he's the love of my life. Like, he's just so handsome. Like, whatever. But then you see him, and he's just kind of, like, there. He's, like, 5'7".
5'6".
5'6".
Yeah.
The same
when he
height as
walks in
Spike
with
Lee.
Yeah, he walks in with his plaid shorts, the plaid knee-length shorts. Oh my god.
It's a white boy summer.
I had a pair of those back in the day, and there's something that has, like, sunglasses, and he just, like, walks in, he's like, "What up, big pimps?" And then, like, Sammy's like, I don't know, just, like, I feel like my heart beating out of my chest. Like, I don't know, like, I want to marry him.
She talks about him the way, like, girls talk about, like, bad boy princes in, like, Harlequin romance novels that you buy at the grocery store. But it's like, he's just like a donkey. No, he's Donkey Ron. He's not a donkey.
He's Donkey Ron. He's very small.
Yeah.
Is there a way we can get the one picture from this episode where Ron looks like fully 2 feet shorter than Sammy? Because I was losing my mind. The camera crew did him so
because it was like a forced perspective thing, right?
It's like what they do in like
Elf.
Lord of the Rings to make like Gandalf look super tall.
Anyway, also Jenny's the pink dress that Jenny wears with the fringe, ugly.
That was very camp.
Is camp just how gay people call things ugly? I'm really confused.
So camp is about over-exaggerating normal things to the point where they're overwhelming.
So the Jersey Shore.
Yes.
Okay. And then you've got Angelina, who... Say what you will about the Jersey Shore cast, they do kind of, like... They don't hold grudges, which I, like, really respect.
Yeah.
So I feel like if Angelina had just been like, hey, guys, I'm sorry about how everything went last season. Like, let's just, make up and let's have a good summer. They would have been cool. But because Angelina refuses to apologize, which is why she got into conflicts last season, she just ends up looking really stupid and getting really mad about nothing. And I actually really liked Mike when she was talking to him outside and they were smoking. Do you remember that?
Yeah.
Like, I don't know, and you can tell, like, he doesn't really want to be around her. Like, he's kind of like, just, like, whatever. Like, he's trying to smoke his cigarette, and she's like, I don't care. Like, it's just stupid. It's just stupid that they're mad at me.
Perfect.
Is that good?
Yeah, that's really good.
I think I've mastered Angelina, and I've mastered Barack Obama.
Oh, no.
Do you want to hear Barack Obama and Angelina have a conversation?
No.
So then you've got... Oh, sorry, continue.
Sorry, I wanted to talk about the cinematic parallel between the first episode of this season and the first episode of the last season, when Angelina is the one in the hot tub that's grossing Sammy out.
Oh!
Because in the first episode, it was Angelina and Sammy going like, oh, these girls are being gross in the hot tub. But this episode, Angelina's in the hot tub and Sammy's like, oh my God, I'm gonna freak out. Like, what if she hooks up with Ron? And I was like, was this intentional, or did this just like purely happen on its own? Because it felt like, I was like,
you know,
where
like...
have I seen this before? But like, the writing for this season, it does have its ups and downs, but when it hits, ooh, it hits.
Anyway, so then you've got Angelina in the car. That whole fight in the car. So let's break that down.
I was just so overwhelmed. I don't even have any notes for that. My brain like shut off. It's like when I watch an action movie and like, I don't know, if there's anything with like explosions or like planes or cars, my brain doesn't work fast enough to like know what's going on.
Yeah.
The only kind of fights I can like kind of follow are like physical fights. Anything with like machines, too much.
Yeah. So, okay, let me try and like figure out how to like say this. So, it's all the girls get into one car. It's Angelina in the back. It's Sammy, Jenny, Snooki up front. Sammy is venting her problems about Ron and how she's nervous that like Ron's gonna hook up with other girls, etc., etc. And then Snooki and Jenny are comforting her. And this is like a really good position for Sammy to be in, because like, you know, or not Sammy, I mean Angelina. It's a really good position for Angelina to be in, because she's already trying to get in on the girl side, like, right? So, and I've learned anything. If I've learned anything from college, it's that you, and I don't mean to be stereotypical, this transcends sexuality, this transcends whatever, but the quickest way to bond with women is to bitch about your love life.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? So if she had just been like, you know what, Aunt, like, Sammy, like, that does sound like a difficult situation. Like, I would hate living with my ex, too. And had just shown her sympathy, she probably would have gotten on the girl's side. Or if she had just said nothing at all, they also would, it wouldn't have, like, whatever. Like, she could have gained points or stayed neutral. But instead, she chooses to be like, oh, you know, why are you comforting her when she's upset about a guy? Because when I was upset about a guy and I had to leave the show, you guys started talking about me behind my back. Which is like, what? Like, why did you need to say that? Also, that's not true. But then, I guess Jenny just, like, wasn't in the mood. Because Jenny also goes from, like, 0 to, like, 100.
Yeah, she was talking the whole episode about how she was ready to physically fight this person.
Yeah, but, like, we do stand, though.
We do.
That's, like, anything else? You also have Ron and Sam get into a fight at the club.
Yeah.
Which is just, like, Ron is just a terrible, abusive person, and it's not even funny anymore.
Yeah, I have the quote, I got him in the pocket, bro. I don't know if that's, like, a pool reference. Like, he just kept saying, I got him in the pocket, bro.
I think there's a quote from, like, The Room, where, like, Tommy Wiseau, he was, like, trying to say, like, he was trying to have a character say, mind your own business, but instead he had them say, like, stay out of my pocket, or something like that. That's what that reminds me of. Whatever. You have Mike break down landmines versus grenades.
Yeah.
Which I think is just kind of stupid because it sounds like they're trying to like retcon like what a grenade is, because I saw them call many skinny women grenades. So clearly Mike is just trying to expand the lore after the fact.
The lore.
The
Yeah.
Jersey lore.
Yeah.
And then this is also the night that Snooki and Jenny will later refer to in the note. Because it's like after you left crying because I believe they're at bed. Yes.
I don't think we see a sign for it, but bed is definitely in the note, in the sacred text.
Okay, well that's pretty much all my notes for this episode. Okay, well season 2 is a rip, roar, and joy ride. And
Is it?
We have to get people to listen! Sorry!
Our season 2 will be a rip, roaring joy ride.
Yes, period.
Yes.
Yes, period. And that's
yes, period.
And that's all on the poster for season 2. Okay, so come back next week for more Jersey lore.
Yeah.
Trans rights.
Trans rights.